Welcome to Future Foodcast. I'm Pam Linemiller, your host. If you're an organization who is interested in sustainable practices, but you're not sure where to go, how to start, how to collaborate with other organizations, today we're going to give you a contact to get in touch with. There is actually a global network of organizations interested and with like-minded causes. I'm having on the show today José Campos. He's the CEO of the Sustainable Agriculture Network. Welcome to the show, José.
Thank you very much, Pam. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes, I am looking forward to talking about the Sustainable Agricultural Network. Let's call it SAN for short during our conversation, just so we don't have to keep saying that over and over. But what is it that you do there?
Yes, SAN is, as you said, a global network, and actually we call it a global impact network, which is a whole concept of how a network should work in order to reach impact. So SAN, it's a member organization of organizations. It's not individuals, but organizations, any kind of organizations. And we share this a mission, which is transforming agriculture to make it sustainable and equitable. So we have members in 4 continents: Asia, Africa, Latin America, the US, Europe. And at this moment, we are 33, becoming 34 soon, but it's growing rapidly.
Yeah, that is very exciting. I know as we do this work, there are a lot of organizations who are interested in knowing what some of the best practices are in their industry and in other industries so that they can collaborate with each other. And I know that's a lot of what you're doing with your member organization, is bringing other organizations together.
Exactly. And this is, even for us as individuals, being aware, conscious that we need to collaborate. The challenges that we are facing are huge, and no one organization could actually solve those issues, even bigger organizations. So we need to collaborate because we need to have this global vision, but also have local reach, understand the local context. So collaboration is key. There has been years where people are talking about collaboration. Now, one of our values is we used to have it collaboration. Now is radical collaboration. We know that we need to do even much more than we were doing. And this is something that requires a lot of energy, a lot of strategies, how we collaborate, but especially what we call a network mindset. So people know that we're in a network, but we need to collaborate.
Well, can you help us, for those who may not be familiar with some of the challenges that you've identified that you're collaborating on? What are those challenges in the agricultural world that you're trying to work with?
Well, transforming agriculture is a huge effort. So you need to have the right technical expertise. You need to have the right connections with farmers, for example, in the field. You need to have the connections also with suppliers, with the corporate sector, with governments, with all sorts of organizations. So one first challenge is designing the right structures for collaboration. And so we are doing that in all our programs. We are also training our staff at the secretarial level, but also with our members, for all of us to understand how important it is to collaborate. And also things like, for example, in these efforts, everybody and every skill is needed. One person will have all the skills. Some people are very good in some skills, others are good in other skills. We need all those skills, but also we need a clear strategy. And for example, one of the programs that we're implementing is Terra Viva, that we piloted it in Colombia, funded by Terra, the UK government. And lots of people are talking about the need to work at the landscape scale. You need to work with farms, but you need to also work at a higher level, which is the landscape, the territory, some people call it. But key for working at the territorial level is the governance. you need organization, you need to define a shared goal and how to achieve that. So it's building that kind of organizations, structures, and agreeing on what we call a common territorial agenda, where all the local stakeholders agree, okay, these are the challenges that we need to fix, and then would be easier for them to talk to, for example, their market, the corporate sector, the suppliers that they are selling products, and then lots of things will come out of that. We are developing CMAS that we call the community-based monitoring and assurance system, because we want those local stakeholders to also measure what is going on in their territory, in their landscape. So they measure sustainability outcomes. And then having that data is power. So if they have that data, they can approach their market, suppliers, corporates, saying, okay, we are producing, for example, this coffee, this organic coffee, and we are taking the right steps to avoid contamination with, for example, pesticides, but they have the data. So you could only do that if you have a well-organized, collaborative structure.
Yeah, and information is powerful, like you were saying. And as a matter of fact, don't you have a new strategic plan that you've just developed to roll out and address some of these things? Would you like to speak to that a bit?
Sure, thanks, Pam. Yeah, we spent a year discussing with our members, with experts, with all different stakeholders globally about what are the issues where SAN, with our unique nature, could contribute. And it was finally approved last June at the University of Oxford. We had our annual gathering, which is the General Assembly, and the General Assembly approved this new strategic plan for the period 2025-2030. We're very excited. We believe that we came out with a really good strategic plan, very designed as a fit-for-purpose strategy to address our mission. We have a beautiful mission, which is transform agriculture to make it sustainable and equitable. It's beautiful, it's huge, it's challenging, because we also have a vision, which is, and I love this vision, which is healing and nourishing our extraordinary planet. We have an extraordinary planet, but we are destroying our planet. So, and agriculture is a main player in these issues, is a big part of the problem, but also a big part of the solution.
Right, because we do have to keep producing food. And so trying to figure out how to do that in the best way is really a lot of where your focus is, and helping all the players come together to discuss the issues that are at hand and how to move forward. And I know when you started with SAN, I think you shared with me that creating that business plan and that structure was really why you were brought on board. That's your expertise, and that's what you brought.
Yes. SAN, 5-6 years ago, was involved in the certification business. And that was SAN and its members were supporting Rainforest Alliance with certification. And the Secretariat was in charge of developing the frameworks for measuring sustainability. And several members were actually auditors in the field. But then there was a merger between the Rainforest Alliance and Woods, and SAN needed to move to a different business, to find a new business. And that was when I came, that I needed to find what is this business. But then if you think about sustainable agriculture, there are many ways that you can achieve sustainable agriculture. Certification is one, but not the only one. So we started thinking. When I came, I led the development of the first strategic plan for this new organization that was approved in 2019 with that vision of the uniqueness of SAN. SAN, there are not many global networks working in agriculture. And the uniqueness of SAN is to make collaboration the key aspect, because there are many networks. I've been involved in other networks before. So is working with the collective of SAN to make sure that we are committed to collaboration, because collaboration requires an extra effort, requires a different kind of leadership. The collaborative leadership style is quite different. You need also to manage egos, I mean, our own ego first, and then allow for members to engage with their strengths. So that was when we came with this new strategic plan. We have been successful. Growth have been really amazing in terms of revenues, implementing programs with clients, with donors. Our growth in membership tripled, and we had actually to reduce a bit the accelerator on growing in numbers, because then we need to grow in engagement with members. So we have now members in Asia, in Africa, Europe, the US, Latin America. And now with this new plan, something new that we're doing is establishing what we call regional hubs, because collaboration could not be centralized by the secretariat that I lead. So what we are designing is regional hubs. The first one that we are designing right now is in Southeast Asia, with members in Indonesia, Malaysia, Vietnam, Thailand, working together, because in those regions, they share some commonalities, cultural aspects, some challenges, and they are used to collaborating politically in different ways. Many commodities are common for those countries, but we are also planning to establish regional hubs in the Amazon region, in Mesoamerica, in East Africa, West Africa, so all different regions in Europe. But we need to go with this one first, make it sure that it works, that they collaborate in a proper way, that they are engaged with different clients. That's an important part of this new strategic plan.
Yeah, establishing that model for the regional areas, which makes a lot of sense, because there are a lot of things, like you were saying, that are common, that are regional, that don't apply to other parts of the world. And that could be what they're growing, could be climate variables, all different things. So that makes a lot of sense. But also within SAN, you have some signature programs. You highlighted Terra Viva already, and you have a couple other signature programs that helps organizations to understand some different focus areas. Can you share the other two with us?
Sure. Yes, Terra Viva is one, which is focused on landscape management and strengthening the governance structures, but for them to work then with commodities, could be coffee or cacao. So that's one of the signature programs. We have two others. Actually, we have more experience with one that we call Co-Ambition, and this is to support the corporate sector achieve their goals. So they have sustainability targets, they have commitments. So we have designed this signature program, Co-Ambition, so that we could offer the private sector opportunities as co-designers. We don't work as a consultant. We want to work as co-designing with them about the programs. We have a very successful one with Nestle that's been going on for a while now. And this has been really successful, because I think it's quite new for all sorts of stakeholders to be pressured with so many growing demands, compliance, and consumers' pressures, governments. So we've been implementing this for almost 10 years now, especially with one organization. Before that organization became a member of SAN 5 years ago. And then SAN has been involved, because SAN provides this global platform. So if if this Nestle needs to expand to another geography, we could engage a member or strategic partners with them.
Yeah.
And the third one is what we call Eco Oasis. And Eco Oasis is basically help partners, corporates, donors implement nature-based solutions in agriculture. Agriculture came very much, I mean, you couldn't have agriculture without biodiversity. It is an intrinsic part of the agro ecosystems. We've been implementing agriculture for 12,000 years with a great deal of simplification, especially in the last 7 decades. And we are paying a price for that because we are affecting the capacity of the ecosystem to provide biological control to pests and diseases, or pollination services, or the fertility of soils. So we are mimicking, understanding what nature has done for billions of years, and then implement those practices. Like, for example, in Malaysia, we are working with Ferrero, the chocolate company, with oil palm. So what we have done, working with different partners in that region, including a national university, is identify the main pests that crop has, oil palm. And then working with experts, what are the natural enemies that control those pests? And the third step is what plants, what habitats those natural enemies require. So we design the establishment of this nature infrastructure within the crop so that biological control and pollination could be enhanced.
Nice. Yeah, so those are great. Thank you for highlighting the signature programs. I think it just helps us visualize all that SAN is doing and what's available there. But as you move into the United States, I know you've also set up a nonprofit for those that might want to support your mission, and we'll have a link to that in the show notes. Is there anything else you'd like to share about that?
Yes, there is an organization, a brand new organization established under the 501c3 legislation in the US, where donors can have their taxes excluded, their donations tax exempt. And this organization is called Friends of Sustainable Agriculture. So established in California, but it works all over the US. We have a board chair from Oregon, a person very well known in the agriculture world. And he was actually a founder father of SAN many years ago. Chris Willie is his name. He's retired, but is so willing and enthusiastic to support the development of this organization. And one of the activities that we are doing is next April, we are going to have a tour, actually, to Costa Rica, for donors. If they want to engage in this tour, it's going to be a 1-week tour to visit the country, 2 special places where they will see firsthand, in close contact with farmers, how they grow different crops, cacao, oil palm, coffee in these 2 regions. And it's important, as you said before, the consumption of food is going to increase, only going to increase. And we need to transform it drastically. And we have a tremendous power, all of us, when we eat what some people call it the power of the fork. When our choices on what food we eat, it's important for our own health, but also for the planet's health, but also for the livelihoods of millions of people. So we have a powerful strategy that we have not used much. So the idea is that Friends of Sustainable Agriculture works in the US along with individual donors, with foundations, to support organizations that are trying to change the way food is produced.
Yeah, well, Jose, thank you for sharing all that is available at the Sustainable Agriculture Network, as well as the information about the nonprofit. And we really appreciate you coming on the show just to let organizations know some resources that are available. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you very much, Pam. It's been a pleasure.
Yes. And if you'd like to hear more shows like this with Jose and highlighting information about what's going on around the globe in the food industry, drop us a note and a comment. Please be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. Until then, I'm Pam Line-Miller.
Thanks for listening to Future Foodcast. Future Foodcast is powered by Farm to Plate, the leading food blockchain platform. Subscribe on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts to stay up to date with the very latest innovations in the food industry.